Welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel, committed to staying on the pulse of everything healthcare beyond RCM, revenue cycle management. I'm your girl, Tiffany Robinson, aka Coach Tiff, your healthcare expert with over 2 decades of experience working in the healthcare industry. Today, I am going to get into a topic that we are all familiar with, the dreaded medical bills. Yes, even though I am a healthcare expert, I too get medical bills. And they're the type of medical bills that I do need to pay and pay attention to. And then they're the type of medical bills where I'm like, wait a minute, something here is not right. And I have to go back to the billing department of the medical provider and question the validity of my bill. And I'm going to talk to you about two specific scenarios that I recently encountered and how I had to advocate for myself as a patient to get the issue resolved. Before I get into that, if this is your first time checking out the channel, I want to remind you to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that every time we put out new content related to the healthcare industry, you will be the first to know. So yes, like I said, recently I received two medical bills from two different facilities where I had to pause and pick up the phone and call someone and advocate for myself while politely educating them because, like I said, I do have 2 decades of healthcare experience, particularly in the revenue and reimbursement space. So the first incident that occurred happened about 2 months ago, and this was related to mammogram services that I had last summer. And I did put out a video about my entire mammogram ordeal and how I felt that the medical facility failed on multiple levels to provide me with adequate patient care. Now, I did not call out the medical facility by name because I didn't think that that was appropriate, but I put out the video to talk about the importance of medical organizations, making sure that patient care and the care part of patient care is emphasized. So the saga continues from that particular ordeal with what I am about to talk about right now. So I got a bill in the mail about 2 months ago. The bill was for about $55-ish. I didn't have an issue with the bill. The concern I had with the bill is the reason that was given to me for why I was being billed. The reason said that I was being billed for my deductible. Now, this immediately raised red flags for me because this was a medical organization that I had been going to for the past 9 years, and I had known the organization to be an in-network organization. Also, understanding my insurance benefits, I know that I am only subjected to paying a deductible should I decide to go out of network. So immediately when I saw this bill, my first question was, well, why am I being charged for a deductible? Is the organization now out of network? So that was my mission. My mission was to find out, is the organization now out of network? Because I do have to go in for annual mammograms. And if the organization is no longer participating with my insurance, I want to know that so that I can decide whether I want to see them out of network or whether or not I want to find an in-network provider. So I call their billing line. I get a representative on the phone and, no shade, but immediately in talking to the representative, I knew that this was not a representative based in the United States of America. So I then began to explain to the rep that I received this bill. The reason for the bill says that I am being billed for my deductible. I have gone to this practice for the past 8 years, have always seen my provider as in network, and now I'm being billed for a deductible. So I would like to know if the practice is now out of network. The representative kept me on hold for about 7 minutes, only to come back to the line and let me know that she would have to put in an inquiry to send back to the billing office to get back to me. Now, that is very frustrating, right? Because me as a patient, if I'm trying to get answers about my bill, if you are sending me a bill and asking me to pay, there should be notes in the system or something that explains why this bill belongs to me as the patient and why I should have to pay this bill. Also, if you're working for medical providers, you should know whether or not your medical provider is in or out of network with the insurance company that you're billing the patient for. So clearly, this was an agent on the phone who had very limited understanding about billing protocols, who had very limited access to the information to provide me with the answer that I required, and who ultimately needed to send the request back to a representative in the United States to assist me. Long story short, the representative put in the request, told me that she was sending the claim back to reprocess and that I would get a response from them in the next 45 to 60 days. We're coming up on 60 days now, so I'll either get another bill in the mail and probably have to call my insurance directly to find out if my provider is still in the network, or they will resolve the issue. I don't know, TBD. But the point is, if you are going to bill a patient for something like a deductible and request that that patient pay money to you, at the very least, your team members should have enough information in the account so that if the patient calls, you are adequately able to assist the patient and give them the information that they require so that they can resolve the issue. The next issue that I encountered with a bill, this happened with a different medical facility, and this was a billing department in the States. So again, I'm not here picking on offshore organizations, because the issue I'm about to talk about right now happened with a billing department that is US based. So I received a bill for laboratory services that I received, and they billed me for the full amount of the laboratory services. And in the statement, they put a little note that says, "Your insurance has not responded to our claim. Please contact your insurance company immediately." Thank you. No, thank you. Uh, so First and foremost, as someone who has worked in medical billing and collections for over 2 decades, I understand how back office is supposed to work. This is not a valid reason to send a patient a bill. This is what we call lazy work, okay? If the insurance company has not gotten back to you, how is that automatically the patient's responsibility? It is patient responsibility if the insurance company has settled the bill and they have determined that there is a valid reason to bill the patient, i.e., I have a copayment, i.e., I have a deductible, i.e., I have a coinsurance, or i.e., my insurance terminated, I'm no longer covered by that insurance, you don't have any other insurance on file for me, so you're now billing me for the balance. But to send a patient a bill because the insurance company has not responded to your claim, that is not cool at all. How do you know the insurance company even received the claim to begin with? Did you pick up the phone and call the insurance company? Did you go online on the portal and check the status of your claim? Did you pick up the phone and use the automated system? Sending a patient a bill simply because the insurance company did not respond to you, that is just poor customer service, and it's poor quality care for patients. And it also gives your medical providers a bad reputation. Most medical providers tend to stay out of the financial discussions of patients. But when patients get bills for services that they should not be getting billed for, they don't get mad at the billing department. They automatically get mad at the medical provider. So when you send a patient a bill incorrectly, you are actually putting your provider, your medical provider's reputation at risk, and you're actually sullying the relationship between the patient and the medical provider. So obviously, I didn't pay this bill, right? I picked up the phone, called their billing department, and politely walked them through the proper denial management steps in order to get this issue resolved. Needless to say, they are putting in the claim once again to the insurance company, and we will see if they are able to get their lives together and get this claim processed correctly. But if you happen to be someone who works in the healthcare space and you're like, this sounds very familiar to me, I want to get a better understanding. I too work for a medical practice where I feel like I should know more about how this works, but I don't quite understand it. Well, you're in luck, because we do have an online course, a masterclass in denial management. It walks you through the steps from A to Z of how to understand denials, how to get into the root cause of denials, the steps that you should take to resolve denials, and best practices for denial management. This course is up on the Teachable platform, And I will drop a link to this course in the description of this video. But denial management, it's a skill set. It is something that you actually have to do. And just based on these bills that I've been receiving lately, I could only imagine how many practices are losing thousands of dollars monthly because they do not have a proper denial management infrastructure. You have to understand that insurance companies, they don't always play by the rules. They do deny claims arbitrarily for incorrect reasons, and they are banking on medical providers not paying attention to this, not staying on top of their denials so that they don't have to pay out those claims. In fact, insurance companies save millions of dollars per year based on denied claims that do not get reworked appropriately. So being able to handle denials, it is a skill set, it is an art. And if you work in this industry, particularly in the medical billing and collection space, it's a skill that you really need to understand. And again, if you are a patient and you have encountered a similar scenario for medical bills that you've received, I want to encourage you to not just run to go pay that bill right away, but pick up the phone. Get on the phone with the billing department and ask questions. And if you're not satisfied, you may need to pick up the phone and call your insurance company and have them advocate on your behalf. Now, you don't want to pay a bill that you don't fully understand why you're being billed for the service. You do want to pay bills that you know are a part of your patient responsibility. So things like co-payments, things like deductibles, things like coinsurance. You want to make sure that you pay those bills. Unless you already paid the bill, you're being billed again incorrectly, at which point you would need to reach out to the billing department and provide them with proof of payment so they could get their lives together. But anyway, I hope you found this information useful. This is the kind of content that we do put out on this channel, useful content for patients, medical providers, and healthcare professionals. And if you like what you saw today, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you in the next video. Until then, guys, peace out and God bless. Bye.